Senator Fetterman, the senator from the state of Pennsylvania, during a Senate hearing today, expressed his support for some of the Trump administration policy regarding immigration. However, he questioned the possibility of the Dreamers to get a pathway to citizenship. Please watch this video till the end.
I know it's like we all know what happened. The new administration, and they have a much different kind of a view on immigration and the border, and I actually agree with parts of it. Honestly, I've said this publicly, and I'll say this again. I believe our party didn't do a good job with the border, and I was very clear on that. And then also, I'd like to say that I was the lead co-sponsor of the Lincoln bill. There's well too. I believe that that we can be very pro-immigration, but we also have to have a very secure border, and that puts me in a different place now. Some people didn't feel like I honored the spirit of immigration, but I actually believe that I did. And now today I'm going to continue that part of my conversation and my commitment. And that is with DACA. Okay, now we can all agree with that. Now for me, my wife was a former dreamer. My wife was a former dreamer, and now I wouldn't have the family that I have, if it wasn't for her. But she was brought to the country when she was 7 years old, and of course, and now I know, Mr. Law, I know we all have LexisNexis, and we all know, and I know that you don't have a strong opinion for Dreamers and DACA. So I'm not going to turn it into gotcha theater, because I really want to have like a sincere conversation here in our brief time we're here. And now, for example, I'm trying to understand why punishing Dreamers that were brought here as children here in this country now, why there's not a path for citizenship, why when they're making these kinds of important contributions here to our nation. And it's like, can we only just be punitive and vengeful about immigration? Why we can't even acknowledge that could be part of something very a positive thing for our nation?
Thank you for the question, Senator. Thank you for your support of border security, as well as the Lincoln-Riley Act. And I'd also like to thank you for a leading role in combating anti-Semitism that has just exploded in recent times. To the specific question of illegal aliens receiving a path to citizenship, that is solely the purview of Congress. The most notable legislative opportunity that I'm familiar with is known as the DREAM Act, and it's my understanding that bill has gone before the Congress numerous times, and every single time it has failed. But personally, any of you in front of us here today, do any of you perhaps could consider or maybe support something like that legislative solution for Dreamers? Well, thank you for the question, Senator. I think it is the purview of the lawmakers to pass legislation and present those to the president. And thus far, it's been my understanding that bill has failed to obtain the votes necessary to make it to the White House.
Okay. So for me, because it just continually just seems to like it's difficult to two things must be true: a secure border, but then now, and we also can celebrate immigration as well too. And now. For me, we had a young person in Georgia, Himena, and she was just pulled over, and it was actually the wrong car. And she of course, she was a dreamer, and now she could be looking at a possible situation of being deported for that. She was brought here as a young child. I'm not really sure it's American to punish a person who is living her best life and making significant contributions to our nation to be punished for a decision for a parent when they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years at that point. And I don't believe that it's an American way to just put them in like a permanent kinds of purgatory where always worrying about looking over the shoulder that now the next single time then they could be deported. They are being paid for sins that they were not a part of that thing. And I'm hopeful, and I'm saying it now publicly today again. Somebody as a Democrat committed to a secure border, why can't we deliver a solution for our dreamers? Because immigration is part of America's superpower, and it's made us much stronger and better. And two things must be true at the same time.
One day